How did we get to Sri Lanka? How did we get to this point in time? What the heck are we doing? Sucking on planes, sucking on planes. Everybody knows I gotta suck it on plane. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Walk and Talk. I'm here today. We got a special guest on Walk and Talk, Mr. Steve Yabowip.
How's it going?
Steve Double Lips.
Steve Webblewell.
Steve Wibble Wabbit. Alright, if you guys don't know, this is a series that I do on my YouTube channel, funded completely by my patrons on Patreon. You guys submit some questions on there. You can drop something as low as $1. Just submit a question, something you want me to talk about, and I'll talk about it. Today we got some really cool topics to talk about. Before we do anything else, you know what we gotta do, Steve? Let's roll the intro. Talk time. You ready, Steve?
We're walking, baby.
We got some cool questions to answer today by some amazing, friendly clats who have submitted their questions. But first of all, maybe we should establish where we are. Still in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Today is actually the day before the tournament. Today's actually
day -1.
Day -1. We're actually wearing the Tuk Tuk tournament shirts right now. If you guys don't know, me and Steve are actually participating and documenting the official Tuk Tuk tournament here in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
I've talked about this extensively, so I won't go into it again in this video, but that's actually starting tomorrow. So it's very, very exciting. But let's talk about what the patrons submitted on Patreon. And quickly, I just have to address this because I completely forgot to mention in the video. During the Tuk Tuk tournament, we have made different Instagram accounts under the aliases that we're going to be following. So our name is the Biryani Brothers. I will link to our Instagram down below. It's _Biryani Brothers. It would also be the pinned comment of this video. Go follow us if you want to see what we're doing during the Tuk Tuk tournament. If you guys live around Sri Lanka, if you live to some of the areas, because we're going to be traveling all around the country for the next 2 weeks. If you want to host us, if you want to have dinner with us, if you want to stay with us, if you want to travel with us, all options. Just follow us on that Instagram account so we can get in touch and DM us over there. All right, now back to the Patreon questions. Alvin was asking, he said, I'd love to hear about the process you went through to plan your latest tour. Basically, i.e. how we got here. How did we get to Sri Lanka? How did we get to this point in time? What the heck are we doing? So, a few things I want to talk about first of all, I just want to bring up. For one, if you guys don't know, I had this really bad case of flight anxiety that I was dealing with for the last year. I wouldn't say that it's solved. Hold on, we got a loud little took. I wouldn't say that it's solved 100%, but Mr. Steve over here, I told him, I opened up to him about it because we were planning a trip for the better part of probably 3 months.
Yeah.
I opened up to him maybe a month before we were getting ready to leave, and I told him, hey, listen, I got this issue I'm dealing with, and he was more than happy to help me help myself deal with this thing. So we flew together across Europe, or actually we flew to Europe.
We flew from the United States to Europe.
And then what did we do?
Then we traveled across Europe for like 2 months, which was amazing. It's funny because it kind of evolved. Like our original idea is nothing at all what we actually did.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to fill them in on how we started that planning.
It was something that we thought of ideas. We were just pondering all kinds of ideas of how we could get to this side of the world, because originally we wanted to get to Asia at some point.
Yeah, well first, like last year we traveled together very briefly. If you haven't seen this series we did, a road trip to the United States, our bro trip, that was so much fun. And we traveled together for 2 weeks, and that was the first time we met, and we just hit it off. We knew we wanted to travel more together, so we've had that idea like exactly 1 year ago is when we traveled together. So we've been brewing this idea for the past year, like we need to go do something big. We need a really big trip together. So then what, in like
April,
we kind of said Europe, I think. That's when we decided we're going to go to Europe together. We didn't know what we were going to do, where we were going to go. We just knew we wanted to go to Europe.
And we originally wanted to go to, I think in the beginning the plan was to try to visit all 50 countries.
Yeah, that was the first idea, I think. Every country.
Every single country in Europe. And then we wanted to do the 10 least visited.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the idea just kept on evolving and evolving.
And then after that, instead of doing the 10 least visited, because a lot of those countries were in Eastern Europe, we just figured, why don't we just travel around Eastern Europe? And then we had an opportunity arise with Hostel World, where they invited us. Watch out for that poop right there. Hostel World invited us for a campaign taking place in Barcelona and Lisbon,
Portugal.
So that kind of threw off our whole idea of going to Eastern Europe, but we eventually did. So
Yeah, we were very opportunistic about it. Like whatever door opened for us,
Yeah.
we were like, let's grab this and run with it. And because of that, I mean, here's the deal. You guys are watching right now. I know there's a big influx of Sri Lankan viewers. First of all, we want to say thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Istuthi, or Nandri if you're Tamil. We appreciate it so much that you guys are here and you're watching, but keep in mind that we, first of all, have a whole life outside of Sri Lanka. We're not only in Sri Lanka. We make videos in other places as well. So that's why some of you guys might be confused when we're uploading, I've already addressed this, but uploading videos from Europe at the same time we're uploading from Sri Lanka. We've explained the reasoning for this already, but the thing is, yeah, we have such an amazing trip that we documented together there that we want to show you guys, because we got to do some really unique things. We got to experience, especially as the series progresses towards Eastern Europe, because we went from the west to the east.
Yeah.
We unlocked some really amazing friendships. We learned about a lot of really cool history. We visited some incredible sites and met amazing people. So this series in general is just really cool. But that's the progression of how we sort of got here to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
We got another beautiful question.
Well, actually, while we were traveling in Europe,
Yeah.
the reason we came to Sri Lanka was because,
The tuk-tuk tournament.
yeah, the reason we're here is
Let's go this way. I actually remember this dog. I actually realized that this is the same exact way I walked last time I did a walk and talk. But yeah, so Alvin also wanted to know, he wants to know how all the decisions that we made accelerated my decision to deal with the flight anxiety. So I'll briefly touch on this and we can move on to the next patron question. But essentially, I got to a point in my life where after a year of being in the United States, the thing is, what I liked about reaching out to Steve originally, because I did something very stupid. I reached out to Steve knowing that I have this issue, but scared to bring it up to anybody. I didn't want to talk about it. And I knew that I was going to pin myself down in a corner at some point and say, all right, I'm either going to plan this trip with this guy for like 3 months and then say, I can't do this with you, or I'm going to man up essentially and get it done and do what I have to do. And so pinning myself to that point, I got to a point of it, like mental exhaustion with myself, where I was just like, I just gotta go out and do this thing. I can't let it control my life. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm still kind of scared. Like, me and Steve are probably not going to be taking our next flights together. Maybe we will, who knows? We don't know for sure yet. But most likely, after this, we're going to be splitting up for a little bit, then regrouping, and I'll have to fly by myself. And it's just something that I have to deal with.
You got it.
And I think that just doing the amount of flights that we did, also, if you guys haven't watched our journey to Europe, it was pretty intense. Instead of taking one flight, like one connecting flight, we had to take 3 different flights. So it made the journey like, I just had to deal with it over and over again, you know, with a very small span of time. And that just kind of accelerated my desire to just get it through, get it over with, just finish what I needed to do. Because at the end of the day, as much as I love this, it is my job as well. And I obviously want to create content for you guys and show you guys the world and do things with amazing people like Steve. And when he brought also all sorts of really cool opportunities to me, I knew that I wanted to take up on them, and I didn't want to just sit back and like sulk in the fear that I was dealing with. So we moved along and we got it done the way we should have. I'm gonna also briefly address, we got another incredible patron who asked, this is Torben, he is from Denmark, and he asked, we know about your love for ukulele, traveling dinosaurs, Israel, and pineapple pizza. I'd like to hear about your taste in music, and if you have used it during your ups and downs in life, what music means to you, and if it's just a background or something you really dive into. Okay, I can briefly answer this, and I definitely want Steve to chime in on this. So, music for me is really big. I believe that the ukulele, so music in a sense, kind of saved my life a little bit when I was younger, because I was very, very depressed when I was 15, and playing music and all that stuff really helped me out. And I like bringing the ukulele with me around the world wherever I travel. If you guys don't know, I have a whole Instagram account called the Ukulele Nomad. I've never really promoted it on here, where I just make little ukulele jingles. Nobody really watches it. It's just something I do for fun. But it's something that I regularly do, and I like bringing the ukulele with me around the world because I see how it provides people with happiness. Hello.
No, thanks.
We're okay, thank you. So yeah, but when it comes to traveling, more so than just me playing the instruments, what I really love to do, and this is an idea that I had, I actually use Spotify. It's not sponsored by Spotify, it's not a plug for them or anything, but I do use Spotify and Shazam to grab music everywhere I go in the world. Sometimes I'll hear a song just walking by a store, and I'll just grab it and listen to it later and make sure that I have it in my brain. Walking on active train tracks again. And yeah, that's how I kind of keep pieces of where I go around the world with me forever, is by the music that I listen. So whether I was in Japan or Korea or the Philippines or even here in Sri Lanka, you know, I try to meet people, ask them about the music here, and save it for myself, so when I go home I can kind of relive moments in my brain of the places I've been to, and I really, really enjoy doing that.
For me, music is used as kind of a mood enhancer, an accelerator. So I use it kind of as a tool sometimes. Like for example, with fitness or working out, like I'll listen to music to energize myself, and I don't always listen to music when I work out. I only want to do it when I kind of need that boost. So it's kind of like drinking coffee almost. Like I don't always drink coffee, so when I do, it works. You know. And a lot of people ask me the question like, what's your favorite type of music? I like a wide variety of music, so I know a lot of people say that, but for me it really depends on the mood and the current situation. So if I'm at a nightclub, I want to hear some, you know, house music, but if I'm hanging out at a bonfire, maybe, I don't know, some chill, maybe, I don't know, some whatever bonfire music.
It's always hard when people ask you, like, you get that question a lot, especially traveling, especially when you're traveling different cultures. People will be like, what's your favorite music? And it's always hard to answer because I pretty much like and am open to everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm open to listening to any sort of music. There's definitely preferences.
It depends on the time, I think.
Yeah. But that is going to be the end of your walk and talk. And I will say this, in addition to music, this is not a paid thing. I just want to promote this because it has something to do with the question. We actually have an album on this website called Epidemic Sound.
Yeah.
It's the music that we use for our videos. We have our own album called We Like the Funk. It's really quirky and cool. It's the music that we actually use. It's the music for my intro. We like the funk.
Yeah, pretty quick.
We like the funk. So if you guys want to check it out and sign up for a free trial with them, you can. There will be a link in the description. There's a link in the description of every single one of my videos to Epidemic Sound. They're just a really cool company, and it's just something I thought I would promote because we're talking about music anyways. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of your walk and talk. Once again, if you guys don't know who Mr. Steve Yallo is, go follow him on YouTube down below. He's actually going to be doing a walk and talk as well. We're going to call it a talk and walk. So head over to his channel because we're going to be talking about some stuff on his channel as well. Same exact setup. And also, please make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications for this channel, and join my Patreon if you guys want to get involved in Walk and Talk. What I try to sell you guys with this is that it's your series. You make it what you guys want. You want to hear something, I'll talk about it. I'm pretty much an open book at this point. I talked about my girl problems walking through the streets of New York. There's not a lot I wouldn't do at this point. So just ask me a question on there. It could be as cheap as $1 to just leave the donation, and then you could delete it the next month. And that's your Walk and Talk, ladies and gentlemen. I love you long time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, Clats.